Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we are doing What If Deku Had Shukaku Part 1. Last time I gave some background information, explained that Deku's an orphan, and a few other things, but there's something I didn't mention, and that was Shukaku's personality, because I didn't know too much about him. Go back. He's psychotic, which is most I could find out about his personality. So in this one, we're just gonna say he has Deku kill animals because Deku won't let him kill humans. So yeah, he settles with animals. Okay, let's get to. Okay, this is the last day of middle school. Deku and the rest of the class are sitting down. They're excited because it's the last day of school. Well, Deku's not really showing it though. And the teacher walks in. He says, calm down, everybody. Today we are going to be doing a test to show what your future occupation will want to be, what you want to do when you grow up, and yeah. Then he throws the papers in the air and says, I know you all want to go to the hero track, and everyone gets excited and starts showing off their quirk. Which, looking at it, some of them look very useless. But, you know, some of them look pretty strong, though, so it's not too bad, I guess. Anyway, so then Bakugo stands up and says, don't let me in with this bunch of losers. I'm the only one here who's good enough. The teacher says, you wanted to go to UA, right, Bakugo? Bakugo says, yeah, because that's the only school worthy of me. The teacher then says, Izuku, didn't you want to go to UA as well? Izuku just sits in the back and nods yes. And Bakugo stands up and stares at Deku and walks over to Deku's desk. And says, after school, roof. And he stares at Deku. Then he sits back down. So yeah. Okay, now Izuku versus Bakugo. Hold on. Basically, at the beginning of the fight, Deku releases the funny enough quirk on his gourd and surrounds Bakugo in sand, similar to how this guy is. And he then looks Bakugo in the eyes and says, if you want to be a hero, let's see how you do being a hero if your arms are broken. Then Bakugo starts yelling, no, don't do it, yada yada, you damn demon, and that does piss Deku off, so instead of breaking his arms, he breaks one of his legs. So yeah. Anyway, Deku decides to walk to the orphanage, because that is kind of where he lives. Anyway, and on his way, he passes under a bridge, and out of nowhere, he gets attacked by the same sludge villain that attacked him in canon. But unlike in canon, Deku's automatic sand defense activates, protecting him. Deku then tries to use sand burial on the sludge villain, but he realizes it doesn't work because the villain is a liquid, not a solid. So he then just holds the sludge villain off with simple sand attacks. Oh, and by broke Baku's leg, I mean he just like sprained it a little bit. So yeah. Anyway. So a bit after this, he hears, no need to fear, 'cause I am here. And he gets this, when he sees All Might delivering a giant smash to the sludge villain, and Deku's ultimate defense protects him from the shockwaves. Deku then puts the sand back into his thing, and he walks away. All Might puts the sludge villain in a bottle and leaves. Deku, instead of walking, decides he's just gonna fly there, so he makes the sand cloud and just, flies to the orphanage. The sludge villain does get out, and Bakugo does get captured. So yeah. This is why I said his leg wasn't broken, it's just sprained, because he was able to get it healed because they're nurse. So yeah. He walking with his friends. Deku hears this, flies over, and sees the commotion. So he decides, since it is kind of, his fault that Bakugo wasn't able to get out, he should help. He's also curious how All Might seemed to drop a bottle containing a villain. So, he makes the spear and concentrates energy into the spear. Well, right outside the spear, creating a black orb that he then launches, causing a giant hurricane. And as soon as Deku snaps his fingers, the hurricane disperses, and the sledge villain is gone. Bakugo is unharmed because Deku used sand armor, which surrounded Bakugo and only Baku, protecting him a decent bit from the blast. Deku then gets on a shield, a cloud of sand, and just flies to the orphanage. He sees the head nun there, and she asks, she yells at him, throws stuff at him. His defense protects him, basically a daily routine for Deku. And yeah, Deku, he's not really allowed to stay in the orphanage, but it's kept as his address, so he kind of camps. So yeah, he goes camping, and he can't find any deer, so he settles with the squirrel, using the spear and throwing it to kill the squirrel, and then he cooks it and, eats it. So yeah, now for the next 10 months of training, Deku works on harnessing this form, the partially transformed, or kind of like Shukaku's one-tail cloak. So yeah, he's able to get a very good grasp on it, so yeah. But he also works on something else. This he gets a small, tiny grasp on, the full body shukaku. So he can maintain this for about 2 minutes a day, and it's a huge power up. So now that we're done with the 10 months of training, he goes to the beach because there's a lot of sand there. He sees the garbage, so he basically snaps his fingers, and sand just takes all the trash to a spot, and he uses the tailed beast bomb to basically destroy all the garbage. So yeah. Anyway, now we're going to UA entrance exam. Deku arrives. He doesn't trip this time because, he has no reason not to be somewhat confident. So yeah. For the written portion of the exam, he gets a pretty high score. I'd say even higher than in canon because he's not as nervous. He still shows socially awkward, but he's not nervous. Now for the practical exam. Ida does not approach him, and while Mike is discussing the points, Deku hears some guy yell that he's disappointed in UA and that he's only said 3 robots and there's another one, and Ida basically explains that a school like UA shouldn't be making these kind of mistakes and yada yada. And as soon as President Mike explains, that it's a 0-pointer, it's more of an obstacle than anything, and he says, "Go," while blowing a horn. Hearing this, Deku quickly summons sand and a spear. Since it is part of his quirk, Deku would be allowed the gourd, so yeah. He then flies around while using the spear, destroying mini robots. He gets a whopping 200 villain points. Anyway, then, did I not put that picture in? I guess not. Then the 0-pointer's heard, and everyone's running away from it. Deku hears a girl scream and sees Uraraka. He quickly puts his hand together and transforms into half Shukaku. He then extends his sand arm and grabs her, pulling Uraraka to him. He then puts her behind him and puts his hands together once more and says, "Sand Tsunami." causing a giant tsunami of sand to basically destroy the robot. Well, Zero Pointer. After this, what is her name? God dang it, I forgot her name. We're just gonna call her Granny. Comes over and heals Uraraka. So yeah. Deku then leaves before Uraraka gets the chance to thank her, and for Deku's acceptance, he gets a letter sent to the orphanage, Everyone says they're not gonna let a villain, so they just want to see his face when he gets rejected. That doesn't happen. He doesn't get rejected, as you could imagine. So yeah, Izuku is given a position and he's told he got the top score in UA history, even surpassing All Might. So yeah, Izuku is happy because that means he's one step closer to becoming a hero, and then he leaves the orphanage to his normal camping ground. We're gonna say there's a week period in between when you get the acceptance letter and when school starts. Because getting the acceptance letter then going the next day doesn't make too much sense to me. So yeah. Deku spends his time talking with Shukaku, trying to get it to where Shukaku will let him use more of his power, whenever Deku needs it. Shukaku comes to a deal with Deku. Since Shukaku can't really kill humans, because Deku won't let him, Shukaku wants 1 day a year where he is in control of Izuku's body. Deku, hearing this, immediately says no. Shukaku then says, the deal is there if you ever want to take it. Which basically means if Deku ever needs a burst in power, he has to guarantee Shukaku a day in his body, with Shukaku being in complete control. So, yeah. Deku then says, if that ever does happen, there will be one rule while you're in control. The same rule as always. No killing any heroes, civilians, or villains. Shukaku says fine. So yeah. Oh, and about Deku's quirk. Whenever his quirk is erased, because Shukaku is like his own entity, and he grants Deku the power, Shukaku actually gets control. So if Eraserhead ever erases Deku's quirk, he'll get to meet Shukaku. So that'll be interesting. So yeah. Oh, in terms of the written, Deku got, I think he got pretty high in canon. So I know he got above 9th, because if he's dumber than Mineta, there's something wrong there. We're gonna say Deku gets 3rd in this. Actually, no, Todoroki and Momo first. Momo, then Todoroki, then Deku at 3rd. So Bakugo finds out that Deku got 1st, that he did better than him in the written exam, and he is not happy. He knows he can't do anything because Deku could kill him with just a snap of his fingers, but still. He wants to get back at Deku pretty bad. So he decides to try and find a way to weaken Deku's quirk. Which, if you didn't know, in Naruto, lightning style basically can pierce the sand. So we're going to say electricity is something he's pretty weak to. And I'm not sure if they ever show it in canon, but water would also be a pretty big weakness because it would make the land heavier and slower to move. But, I mean, make it heavier meaning it would do more damage, just it wouldn't be nearly as fast. So water and electricity are basically his weaknesses. So I hope you all did enjoy this video, and I'll see you next time. Oh, I do plan to start doing daily what ifs, so yeah. Goodbye, have a good day, and hope you enjoyed.